The following podcast is intended for mature audiences. If you enjoy our work, please like, comment, subscribe, and follow the links in the description. Thanks for your support, and enjoy.
Greetings and salutations, listeners. I, Eric J. Chuckie, joined as always by my partner who is not a cat, the boy.
Hey.
This is the Two Nerds Podcast. Today we are talking about the worst pay-per-view I've seen in a while, Roadblock, End of the Line.
You think it might be worst pay-per-view 2016?
Yeah, because the other ones I was really mad at for isolated incidents. This was just all over bad.
So for overall quality, you'll give it worst of 2016?
Yes.
I'd have to go back and, think about the other pay-per-views and really consider.
You were going to say watch them again, and then your brain was like, don't.
But, I'd say it's at least in the top 3. Wow, it was genuinely god-awful.
We're going to do this a little bit different, because I was so furious after we watched it last night. We had another one of those, and we've talked to you guys about them before. Should we just stop watching WWE pay-per-view conversations? Where the boy was like, man, buddy, we don't have to do this to you, okay? And I took to the internet, and I wrote a list on a forum I frequent about my thoughts.
Specifically, all of the reasons this was a shitty pay-per-view. And, by the way, if we come across good moments in the pay-per-view while we're talking, we'll highlight them.
Sure, no.
Don't hold your fucking breath.
There were a couple. And I will expound upon the list. I'm not just going to read you the list I wrote. But if we do the matches a little bit out of order, forgive us. Or don't. And write it in the comments section. Like and subscribe.
We can pull up the card if you want and do mention the matches in order. But this is more going to be we hated this pay-per-view. Here's why.
Y'all motherfuckers got Wikipedia as much as we do. You can look it up yourselves.
We try and be positive here on the Two Nerds Podcast, but there comes a time when you gotta ask yourself, what am I willing to take today?
Not fucking this.
Not fucking this.
Oh my god. Okay, so sin number 1, Roadblock, End of the Line. The second Roadblock pay-per-view this year.
Which is the part that angers me. There's been 2 You are the WWE. You cannot tell me that there is not one motherfucker in that back room who could have come up with a different word for your pay-per-view. As a matter of fact, I know one of your consultants is the most prolific scriptwriter in Hollywood. Bullshit, you couldn't have come up with a different name.
I have a great name for the pay-per-view.
End of the Line?
Yeah.
Just
End of the Line. That's great. Use fucking that.
WWE End of the Line.
What are you roadblocking?
The road to WrestleMania doesn't start till the Rumble. You're roadblocking a road that doesn't exist. That's the whole purpose of the name of the fucking Roadblock pay-per-view. If you have another Roadblock in 2 months, we're going to fight.
Thankfully, it looks like they're going back to a lighter pay-per-view schedule. But
Saints fucking preserve us.
Yeah.
This Fortnite bullshit is just too
I'm
far.
going to knock on the crown molding here in hopes that that's the case. So that's sin number 1 here. And I'm going to actually refer to my list now.
I'm going to give you a second. There's schmutz on my glasses. I have to clean it or it'll drive me nuts. You go.
All right. So the first match I'm going to be picky about. It was probably the best match on the card. And that's sad. It was the Tag Team Championship match between The New Day and Sheamus and Cesaro. The New Day managed to achieve their greatness. They broke Demolition's streak. And that's what Demolition gets for trying to sue the WWE for bullshit reasons.
Partially bullshit reasons.
Yeah, mostly bullshit reasons. Also, if you were going to sue over this, maybe have done it back when you were an active competitor.
Or had just retired, maybe recently instead of, I don't know, 1 million goddamn years ago.
But anyway, look, I'm on the CM Punk divide. I am for Punk, whereas Boy is so ardently against him, and even I think this lawsuit is kind of stupid. Sabu. Anyhow, so they broke the streak, and that's great. And they came out and they did a little promo, and the promo was great. And they had nice Christmas-themed gear with owls on it, and that was fun. And then Sheamus and Cesaro.
Okay, sin 1 for me. I need to preface this. Being predictable isn't bad. If your story is good, me being able to predict it isn't a bad thing. Because a certain amount of predictability is good in fiction. There are archetypes we respond to.
The Guardians of Ga'Hoole, which we talked about, I think, last podcast? No, maybe it was a private conversation. But it was a movie about cartoon owls. It was a very predictable, tropey fantasy story.
But they didn't make it bad because it was well done.
Yeah.
And the stuff that happened was still fun and interesting. That's the thing. If your shit's going to be predictable, and this 100% was, there was exactly one thing that happened in this entire pay-per-view that I did not call like 3 weeks ago, or 2 weeks ago, or when I heard the match was formed earlier before we watched the pay-per-view.
Same, but only because I didn't bother calling it.
Like, I called all of this shit out loud. Fucking Dibsies called it so I could make this fucking speech. If your shit's gonna be bad, if your shit's gonna be predictable, it's gotta be good and predictable. And you didn't deliver on the first thing.
Now, like I said, this was probably the best match of the night. Everybody except for Sheamus was doing really well.
And Sheamus was just having a bad day at the office. Sheamus is an incredibly quality talent. He's a good big man, and he's doing great with his current gimmick. He's really embracing the I get the boo, Cesaro gets the cheers. He's having a lot of fun with it. But it was a bad night at the office. He kind of stank up the joint.
Yeah, he missed a lot of his marks, and yeah, I mean, it showed. But
everyone else was doing their job. Really good. New Day's good as always. Cesaro is fucking Cesaro, so of course he's good.
Now, here's my issue going in. And I believe you have a bit of a detracting statement for this, but allow me to finish. I don't mind at all when you put two singles wrestlers together to be a tag team when you have a weak tag team division. It's happened before. Austin and Triple H, for example. They had a crap tag team division, so they threw those guys together, and they did really well. Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit, and they had a really great storyline around it where they accidentally won the belts and were stuck together.
You're not supposed to mention the forbidden one.
Chris Benoit. Pegasus.
Sorry, that's too funny.
But here, they do have quality tag teams. They've got Enzo and Cass, who were in the pre-show.
Yes, Cesaro's a face. There's no reason Enzo and Cass couldn't have been there, except for the fact that they were already doing something, and they were only already doing something so that they would logically not be there.
And they have other teams. They've got the Sexy Police.
They're not over enough.
No, they're not. I understand that's why they put these guys in that slot. These guys are over. Let's cram them together and put them in there so the titles are over. But,
so that when someone has to beat the New Day, it's someone who's over. And it doesn't look like a fluke.
But here's the problem. First of all, you knew this was coming for quite some time now. We've all been very patient with the mediocre booking around the New Day because we all knew we just wanted to break Demolition's streak.
All the fans were behind it. We were all like, okay, we get it. I mean, they're doing the same shtick, and we know the ending to all their matches, but it's okay because we're all on this train.
Yeah.
We all want to see this happen.
So they broke the streak in epic fashion.
We were all happy with our march towards history, okay?
Yeah. And it's great, and I'm happy for them, and I mean, sometimes the matches were great, sometimes they were mediocre.
Cut apparently a good promo tonight about how they knew this was going to happen eventually. So, they congratulated Cesaro, not Sheamus, and, were very, upstanding about it, and then they had a big tag team blow-off match with them and the Shining Stars, and Sheamus and Cesaro, and I think one other team. It was, they're going good places with it, and it doesn't look like they're going to try and immediately grab the titles back. Also, something I found out from Raw is they, tonight, since the New Day's no longer the champs, and they can do it smoothly, gave Cesaro and Sheamus different belts.
Yes.
They gave them the Raw Tag Team Championships, which are the same as the SmackDown ones, so they're silver, not bronze. We've upgraded from copper to silver. That's at least a step up. And red background, not blue. I'll have to see them, because I'm worried they're going to look like another fucking strawberry belt.
There's so much silver on them that it's okay, but...
By the way, I say strawberry, with the extra R, when I mentioned the strawberry belt, because I hate the strawberry belt.
I don't. I love the strawberry belt, but I still call it the strawberry championship because it makes me happy. We're fighting for strawberries.
Why couldn't it have been a regular belt with a red background? Why? Why couldn't it have been a regular belt with a red background?
But anyway, so my other problem with this match is it's so, as we said, so fucking predictable.
And this was the one time they did the first thing. It was good, but predictable. I wasn't mad at this because you were, but I wasn't mad at this because this was the ending to this match.
Sure.
The only other way to end this match would be to have the New Day win it and then they keep it to WrestleMania and drop it to Enzo and Cass. That's the only other thing I could see. And then why did you put Sheamus and Cesaro together in the first place? The thrown together tag team, winning the titles and fighting over them and who gets to hold them is a fucking part of that gimmick.
Yeah, no, I don't know. It just, there's a lot of bad decisions. Not bad decisions, but a lot of poorly timed decisions that came into this match.
Yeah, doing all your predictable shit, like, I'm sure accidentally, but arranging all your most predictable storylines so that they're all in the same show, one right after the other, not a good call.
Well, and that happens a lot, and I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here, but I mean, I might as well talk about it now when I'm thinking about it instead of forgetting about it later.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the matches throughout the night, including the one on the pre-show, had the count-out tease where the wrestler got in the ropes at 9.5.
I'm going to be honest with you, they're turning that into the, for the last 7 months, it's been everyone's outside the ring, coincidentally, one guy's in the ring, he looks back and forth like, should I do it, everybody? And then he does it, he jumps, and he tucks all the people out. They didn't do as many of those, they're replacing that with the count-out one. It's just one of the, WWE goes through cycles where this is the spot we're going to do to fill some time in the middle of the match.
Yeah, I don't know if that was a good decision, especially when the actual payoff, where someone got counted out, happened on the pre-show. You led with the payoff.
You're bad at booking, like person who made this, which, to be fair, no, they're not. No one person books all the matches in a WWE card.
No.
It's different writing teams. That's why it always feels like it's written by a fucking schizophrenic, because
it's a clusterfuck.
It's different teams.
But whoever's got final say, because somebody has final say on SmackDown, so I have to assume it's the same on Raw.
It's just someone bad on Raw.
Yeah. And to that same extent, there was everything but the main event. The referees made up their own rules.
Which has been an ongoing problem the entire year of 2016. Oh my god. Magic A is Magic A. Suspension of disbelief requires that you keep to your own continuity. Your fucking competition is already fake. It's already scripted. When people call wrestling fake is kind of a pet peeve of mine, so I'm not going to be that guy.
Pretty much all wrestling fans, but
your shit's already scripted. It's already a television show. If you start breaking the internal rules, if fucking Daenerys Targaryen whips out an AK-47, I'm gonna have some fucking questions.
And these rules have been established for a long time. If you're gonna do some changes,
100 or so years.
If you're gonna do changes, say you're doing changes. Have a GM come out and be like, we're gonna do things different now because I'm in charge. First of all, it's a 20 count, and the referee has the final say over whether this happens or not. I remember the first time referee stoppage made a victory for the person doing the brutalizing, which is something I always felt was great. I used it in my e-feds.
But the WWE, that was the opposite. If the referee had to stop the match because you were beating a guy up too much, you lost.
Yeah, because you went over the line. You suck.
But they made that a win to make a guy look dominant because that's a much better usage of referee stoppage. That's just better. But they changed it, and nobody mentioned that it was different now.
And it's like, okay, hello,
and if you change it, you gotta fucking stick with it.
Yeah. And they don't. They just flip-flops all the time. But I've been watching Nitro lately, and the gimmick where one of the referees, whose name escapes me off the top of my head, is dirty and is in NWO's pocket and, has been doing all these things in the referee matches. The shit he was doing was half as shady as some of the bullshit out of nowhere calls these referees are making. These inventing your own rules calls. And they had a several months long, 6 months long storyline about this shady referee.
I'll give you one better. They did the exact same fucking thing not a couple years ago in the WWE with Brad Maddox.
Sure, and then 10
years
before that.
Shady shit. There's no cadence to the 10 counts anymore. In the 90s, there was a cadence. They lasted as long as it took for the guys to get back in the ring, and we all understood that. because it was clear that the referee didn't want to count anybody out because that's a shitty way to end the match. They had the refs sell that they were clearly doing a slow count because they didn't want to have to count someone out.
Well,
but it was acknowledged.
It's traditionally like it works in the game. The first 5 are pretty rhythmic, and then after that they get slower because the refs are like, come on, guys.
Get back in the ring. In the same way that they give you the fucking business for 45 seconds before they even start doing the 5 count.
Sure.
It's part of the rhythm. We all understand the rhythm. The rhythm is built into wrestling fans from the time we are small children. And that's the other thing. If you do not hook them when they're young on this referee bullshit where the refs do shit that is illogical, if you do not keep that illogical shit the same, that's going to stick out to them when they're older. It's the reason I have such a problem with people changing the rhythm of 10 counts, or changing what happens when people are tied at the end of an Iron Man match, because it isn't fucking sudden death overtime.
So, moving on from those points. The third problem was there were a lot of really long rest holds and submissions. I like submissions just fine, but as not into this show as the crowd was, wow, the worst call you could make, slowing down the action. But I digress. Let's move along. I am happy that Cesaro won in Chikara country, because
good
I'm
for
a
him.
big Chikara fan. And he got into the crowd. The fans really appreciated it, too. The next match we had, I don't even know. This is stupid. This entire angle is stupid. Which was Sami Zayn versus Braun Strowman.
This was a garbage fire. This was... Alright, so I expected this to be exactly as bad as I had expected Baron Corbin versus Kalisto to be. And the exact opposite happened. Baron Corbin versus Kalisto, I expected it to be really bad, and it was actually really good. This, I expected it to be really bad, and it was equally worse than I had already expected it to be.
It was a better Baron Corbin versus Kalisto was a better big guy versus little guy match, like this, and it was also better use of your cruiserweights than the cruiserweight match. Kalisto did nice, good flippy-floppy moves, and again, I'm getting ahead of myself, but the cruiserweight match was neutered, like it always fucking is.
But I want to go back. I don't want to fucking skip over this garbage fire.
No, because this was atrocious. This is when the refs being fucking stupid really started to stick out. Because you know what? Not disqualifying people because they run into the ring and absorb a blow. That's one thing. That's pretty traditional, and
the wrestler doesn't get disqualified for hitting someone who's not in the match. They get disqualified for someone else will get disqualified if they hit back. That's the rules.
Right. So that's fine. And that was a little fucky, but whatever. They do it all the time.
I like it. It's a good spot.
Sure, it's a great spot. I think they've been overusing it lately, but it's a good spot. But the referee was clearly on Sami Zayn's side. And
the referee was so clearly on Sami Zayn's side that there was a point in the match I'm surprised he didn't just, hit Braun Strowman with a chair.
I mean, when Braun Strowman was out of the ring, his 10 count was lightning fast. When Sami Zayn was out of the ring, it was super slow. At one point, Mick Foley hobbles down, and I did make fun of him at the time because he gassed out walking to the ring.
And I rightly chastised him for it. You're not allowed to make fun of Mick Foley for being tired. He killed himself for your entertainment.
Well, no, it's that he's having hip surgery. So that makes perfect sense. But still, there's this is a match where all Sami Zayn has to do is survive 10 minutes against Braun Strowman. And fuck you, Braun Strowman isn't a good enough wrestler to have this. Why wasn't it Rusev?
Alright. Real talk? Because Braun Strowman's bigger.
And I don't care. I hate that.
I know, but you asked.
Yeah, no. Give me a good reason. That's not a good reason.
It is to the man who signs the checks.
Whatever.
I can't hate Braun Strowman. He's got the Roman Reigns. They're offering him money to do this. I can't hate him.
No, I don't have anything against, actual guy whose name is not Braun Strongman.
No, it's something really, really normal.
Yeah, I have no problem with him. I don't blame him for being in this spot. I blame the people who offer him this spot.
I don't hate the player. I hate the game.
Yes, precisely.
But not specifically the game, because I don't think this is his doing.
No.
He likes Sami Zayn.
Yeah, Mick Foley comes down, and there's this whole thing about Mick's going to throw in the towel, and, 3 minutes of this match?
3 minutes of the, if you could survive Braun Strowman for 10 minutes. Also, wow, what a fucking what a condescending match stipulation. Sammy doesn't even have to win. He just has to not die for 10 minutes. I'm sorry, I know you want Braun Strowman to look strong, but no. I don't even know. I would not accept that from Goldberg. No. That's a stupid match stipulation.
And it's not even like Sammy's that small.
No, he's not. They're not that differently sized.
No, it was stupid. And 3 minutes. 3 fucking minutes. Mick Foley, Sami Zayn are arguing out there, and Braun Strowman is doing black metal lyrics. And
like Mick is teasing that he's going to throw in the towel. Like, I'm going to have to do it. And again, he's supposed to survive 10 minutes, and you gave him a 3.5-minute breather with your stupid towel skit, thus robbing him of what little toughness he could sell from surviving 10 minutes against the force of nature and world-ending god that is Braun Strowman.
And at the beginning of this match, just in case the rest of it wasn't bad enough, I got #triggered by Michael Cole. Those of you who have been listening to us for a long time, back when we did videos about wrestling results, might remember the WrestleMania, where, like in the first match, I don't even remember who it was. I want to say Alberto Del Rio and Edge.
Somebody did a move.
Somebody did a head scissor. A spinning head scissor. And Michael Cole called it a Hurricane Rana. And much to my delight,
JBL immediately went, well, there's a Hurricane Rana.
That's a head scissor, not
or
a
that's
Hurricane Rana.
that's a head scissor. I think he actually did call him stupid.
Oh, yeah.
That's a head scissor.
Because they're completely different moves, and
all right, they're not completely different moves.
One rotates on a horizontal axis, one rotates on a vertical axis.
But both involve a guy jumping, wrapping his legs around a guy, and then spinning happens and the man falls down.
Well, unless you're Braun Strowman, in which case you get spun around and then decide to take 4 steps forward.
Oh, God, that was bad.
And just sort of, I don't know, collide with the rope's minimum velocity.
It doesn't help that I've seen Braun Strowman put on good matches. He's got a limited moveset because he's pretty new, like really new. But
he reminds me of Paul White back in WCW.
Yeah, he's got a limited moveset, but I've seen him put on good matches. These guys have no fucking chemistry.
Oh no, 0, less than 0.
Like they have the chemistry of The Rock and John Cena. The first time they wrestled, if you took about 50% of that chemistry away, and those guys were already at 0.
Okay, Sami Zayn wins. And
well, Sami Zayn, air quotes, wins.
None of us won in this match. Not even
there were no winners.
There was no winners. The next match was Seth Rollins versus Chris Jericho.
Oh, wow, was this match fucking boring. It was so boring, I went and made food.
I stayed for it. He did not miss anything.
I cared so little about this match. I cared so little about this match. I don't know if you know this, but I'm a guy who multitasks well. It's actually integral. It's core to my actual daytime job, is I have to be able to multitask. I do it really well. But when I watch wrestling, I get away from my computer, I put down my phone, I sit and I watch the program because there are dudes putting their bodies on the line for my entertainment. I try not to get up unless something's not happening. I make jokes about a piss break match, but I don't even get up during those. I try and go to the bathroom in between matches or pause it if I can now that I have the network. I got up and made a fucking snack during this match. I was so uninvested and bored.
And again, it's because of predictability.
This was it was the second most predictable match on the card.
Like 2 pay-per-views ago, 2 Raw pay-per-views ago, we said, okay, yeah, so they're going to be friends for a while, and then they're going to pretend to not to be friends to roost somebody, and then they're going to be friends again after some secret interference that nobody expected. And oh my fucking God, look at it all happening.
It's like they listened to our podcast and decided to do exactly what we said. But that's not even what it's like. It's like they watched every goddamn version of this angle since the beginning of time and went, let's just do that with no changes. I think just literally by the book. By the book as if this is the first thing we've ever booked in a wrestling federation.
Then the thing is,
and given the state of their writers, it might have been.
You could do this with a team who doesn't have a history of being conniving and sneaky. As much as I hate them, the Club. They're bros, okay? Now, if they split apart, that might be a little less predictable.
Right. I mean, I'd still probably call it because... But, like, I would give it leeway because I'm calling it because I've watched a lot of fucking wrestling.
Yeah, it's not like... I mean, this is like playing fucking catch with your dad in the backyard, and he does that thing where he dips his hand a couple of times to prepare you to catch the ball.
You don't. It's stop. And, again, being predictable is not bad. Being predictable, if this had been a good match, and I was invested in the characters, I would have been it would have been exactly as predictable, but I would have had the appropriate reaction. I would have been upset when Kevin Owens came out and interfered to get Jericho the win. That would have rustled my jimmies up something nice.
Well, Jericho didn't win. He interfered and fucked up, and Jericho lost.
Still, but like it doesn't matter. He still interfered. When he came down to interfere, my jimmies would have been real rustled. And then when he fucked up and lost, I'd have gotten that. I'd have been like, ha ha, you suck. It would have worked. But it didn't because it was predictable and the wrestling was bad. Chris
Jericho's not good anymore. I take back what I said about the AJ Styles match. Not that AJ Styles was great in that match.
Absolutely, I agree 100%. I'm willing. That's a retraction from the Two Nerds podcast. Further evidence has proven that was not AJ Styles' fault.
The number of times I requested, and you can vouch, for AJ Styles' literal butt to be back on the screen again during this show, I am not proud of.
It's just like it would have had to have been attached to the rest of him.
Yeah.
I will take boring and bad over AJ Styles. Who's worse on both counts.
But this was so bad that I was being distracted again by Chris Jericho's tights, which say Gort. I don't know how you fuck up an A.
It's just a block letter.
But it's like there's a little dip. Like it's like if you were
It's not. He has an ass divot.
Well, then design the tights around the ass divot and his mangina.
His fucking gold lame boy pussy.
Just wear different tights, my God. And the gold is so fucking shiny, and it's all over his taint.
Or wear actual tight trunks underneath, because dude, those trunks are loose in the back. You don't have the butt you used to. And they're sagging, old man, and then you get all worked up, and they ride up, and then you're wearing a thong, and you're not Lita. I'm not interested.
I like Chris Jericho on the mic. He's still good on the mic. I don't like the stupid idiot catchphrase.
I love the list.
The list is great.
He's been gold as Kevin Owens' comic buddy who bandies good banter back and forth, because Owens is good at that. By the way, Owens... it wasn't good in this pay-per-view, but in the ring, that is to say. But he's long since won me over. He's a character now. He's a fun character. He's the weird, pedantic murder troll.
I'm losing patience for him because he's the kind of people I don't like in real life. And, it's one of those things where that should be a heel character I want to see lose, and I do want to see him lose. But the problem, especially with this pay-per-view, is that he was up against Roman Reigns. And, as we stated earlier, he was going to win.
I mean, he was going to win so obviously that I'm fairly certain Ray Charles could have seen it coming.
Now.
And he did.
Maggle also trying his best for Jericho, but maybe don't. Calling it a seated Walls of Jericho.
No, bitch, that's a Boston Crab.
It's just a Boston
Crab. Defining characteristic of a lion tamer / Walls of Jericho is that it's a standing Boston Crab. You motherfucker.
And it's not like fucking Seth Rollins doesn't have the legs to be doing a Walls of Jericho ad.
If it was the Big Show, I would not have questioned.
Sure, you did your best, and he's got a lot of butt. I understand.
Shit, if it was any halfways big dude, Seth Rollins is we. If you can't stand up and do that move anymore,
you don't need to be wrestling.
You know, at the very least, you don't need to be doing that move.
Or that, yeah.
Also, please stop devaluing that move. It's a glorified signature move now, and it used to be an amazing finishing move. I know you got your fucking face breaker now, but come on, man. A little specialness to the classics is all I'm asking.
We get to the Cruiserweight match. Again, it wasn't terrible. It was a triple threat. Brian Kendrick was routinely kicked out of the ring, and I think that's why it wasn't terrible. Rich Swann, entertaining, not the best in the ring. TJ Perkins, still fried cold.
Rich Swann, dumb pants.
Yeah, his little swan wings were very distracting, but not as distracting as Gort. So
fair enough. He's the Gort. What can you say? Greatest of...
Really, 10 years ago. But after the match, Rich Swann retained for whatever reason. And
sure, why not? Fuck it.
Adrian Neville comes back, and he's a heel.
Best decision of the night. Only good decision of the night. Only thing I didn't see coming. Adrian Neville coming back, good decision. Him being a heel, great decision. Him being in the Cruiserweight division, best decision.
And I've said this a couple times before, too. I'm glad they have 205 Live. And I'm glad they're doing the British thing.
Because Triple H is in charge over at 205 Live, so they do, I'm sure, actual Cruiserweight matches.
I haven't watched it. I should, because I like the Cruiserweight division. I love the CWC.
We also don't watch NXT. We like them better, but we never watch them. It's like we're fucking masochists.
We have to sit through this slog.
And it just wipes us out for wrestling until we have to do it again.
Unless I'm just sitting around watching WCW and going, lol.
Or, normally, before this fortnightly slog, we would catch, at the very least, the NXT Supercards, because we liked them and they were good wrestling and we were interested in what was happening. But now with this fortnightly bullshit, these are so, even the ones I like are so tiring. I'm done with wrestling until the next one.
Well, I mean, there's just all that other stuff that we'd rather be doing, kind of thing, you know. Yeah. But that was that. It wasn't as good as a tag team match, so you know. The Iron Man match. Oh my god, this is the one I got up and made hot dogs during. One
good point: they didn't call it an Iron Woman match.
Yeah, that would.
Thank you. Very much.
They could have called it an Iron Maiden match. That would have been all right.
That would have to involve an Iron Maiden.
I like that idea. They made the cage above the ring. They can make an Iron Maiden.
That's a different match. I like the idea of an Iron Maiden match, like a casket match, but it's an Iron Maiden standing up in the corner of the ring.
Oh, that's so good.
For the whole match, and it's open, and the whole match is like an Inferno match. It's about they shoving them towards the Iron Maiden. It's just standing there open and threatening. And at the end of the match, he's he launches him into it and runs over and tries to close it, but the guy reaches out and stops him.
I miss NJIW. We would have had that fucking match. But it was not. The action picked up just before Submission Town. And when I say picked up, I mean it picked up in that way where you're good, we're getting to the good part. But then it didn't.
But then they just did their submissions at each other for a while. Fucking the most predictable thing happened. Charlotte Flair won, which means Bayley's going to win versus Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania.
Good.
Or you're fucking idiots. Or Asuka. I would take Asuka.
They're already doing the feud. They've already started the Bayley thing. She pinned Charlotte tonight.
Good, yes. So, yes, good. Exactly what I want to see. Asuka or Bayley at WrestleMania beat Charlotte for the first time since Charlotte joined the main roster. That's what I want to see. This was the most predictable ending, but I'm not mad at it because it leads to a better story. I'm mad that this match was fucking boring. I'm mad that this match was fucking booked. Yeah, I was tired of watching them. I went back and I looked. Mm-hmm. The last 6, maybe 7, non-SmackDown pay-per-views have been about the feud between Charlotte and Sasha Banks. And they were trying to build this big, epic feud between these two icons. And I'm sorry, I don't even want to watch The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin wrestle that many times back to back. And that's not even counting the weekly shows. I watched shit. I went back and watched old pay-per-views from one of my favorite eras in wrestling. The same two motherfuckers were not fighting each other more than 3 pay-per-views in a row. Yeah, and this was 6 Raw and 6 non-SmackDown pay-per-views because even the joint ones.
No, don't.
Dolph
Stop.
Ziggler versus The Miz.
Yes.
Charlotte versus Sasha. Guys, know when to fucking quit.
If you have to do a final match that says, all right, this is the last match between them in very clear, bold block letters.
That's the fourth match.
Right under Gort, then you've gone too far.
Like, if you have to do it, that's the fourth match.
Unless you
That's the rubber match. Oh my god, have you never booked a wrestling federation before?
Unless you go in advance, like Sheamus and Cesaro, and say,
this will be a best of seven.
Yeah.
That's fine. I accept that because you've set the expectations.
Now we know when it's coming, and we can temper our resolution. But, like, just looking at this card, I didn't want to watch this fucking pay-per-view. Because nothing about it looked good. And, I mean, yeah, that tempered my interest in the show. But, you know, we'll get to that in a minute. The next match was Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens.
Oh god, I checked out. I was actually, for a part of this match, I went back to multitasking, and just so we're clear, this is me. This is the guy who's the Roman Reigns fan, who the only one left to exist. Or, as I saw on the internet recently, one of two. Shout out to the other Roman Reigns fan. I didn't care, because the ending was so predictable, and Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens can put on a good match together. They sure as fuck didn't that night. That was slow and plotting and boring and predictable and every goddamn thing people say that's bad with Roman Reigns.
I mean, I'm not a Roman Reigns hater, and I'm certainly not a Roman Reigns hater for the reason most people are Roman Reigns haters. I don't care.
If you started to hate Roman Reigns, I would not dislike you for it because you have much better reasons.
Yeah, I don't care that Vince handpicked him or whoever handpicked him. I don't give a fuck. Someone's got to be in that spot. It's Kensby Roman. That's fine. Whatever. Daniel Bryan was dead, and then they didn't know if he was going to be dead again, so they needed to not put Daniel Bryan in the middle of it. What a great idea. The guy who keeps getting injured, let's not rest everything on his shoulders.
Yeah, people act like that was fucking bullshit of them, and they kept him down. No, he had a long history of injury. He had many recurring injuries, and he was fighting off recurring injuries even then when they gave him the Intercontinental title. And look what fucking happened. No, you don't put Ahmed Johnson in the world title scene.
I miss Ahmed Johnson. So does Ahmed Johnson. But I don't like Roman Reigns because he doesn't try to hide the fact that he's a self-important asshole outside the ring.
Which most wrestlers are.
I'm sure.
I kind of like that he's honest about it. And I understand his frustration, but even dude, you're being kind of a fucking tool.
And especially when you're supposed to be the face of the company, that's not cool.
Like, you're doing your job, but you're not doing the recognized secondary requirements of your job. John Cena, in his private life, might be a fucking asshole. I'll never know, because he's always bright, shiny, and happy anytime he's in public.
Yep. And he's not that great in the ring. He's not bad.
He's a solid talent.
He's 90s good.
He's a solid talent. He's got a good moveset, and by fucking God, if they would turn him heel, he'd be amazing. He'd be an amazing heel wrestler. But as a face, he's a B-plus player.
I'd say a B. Because his mic work's not good. It's not...
Hey. Neither is Daniel Bryan's.
Well, no. But look, I'm not talking about Daniel Bryan here. Daniel Bryan doesn't get in my top 50 favorite wrestlers of all time. Probably not the top 100. He's fine, don't get me wrong, but...
That's one of the reasons I never really was into him. His mic work is always really substandard.
I mean, I dug the angle. I love what they did with it, but it's whatever. But he's also got the worst nicknames in the world. Does Roman Reigns.
Oh, God. Oh. Like, and they're fucking... They are committing 1,000,000% to nicknames that Roman Reigns isn't cool enough to pull off.
What?
And I think he's really fucking cool.
What's wrong with the Roman Empire? The Roman Emperor? What's wrong with...
I don't know.
What's wrong with just Roman? And it's on his fucking entrance tongue.
The Roman Empire. I think that would be a spiffy name for a wrestler's gimmick, and perhaps his fan base. Just calling someone the Emperor. That would work really well, I'd think.
Yeah. Could have a great yes chant that goes, Ave, Ave. It would be a spectacular turn of booking
Ave
genius.
fucking Imperator. But
he doesn't even have to talk much. The dude says 5 words in butchered Latin, and people be like, I dig it.
yeah, like, it's not, you don't gotta talk a lot. You don't gotta be the best wrestler, just a good catchphrase for people to chant. If fucking D-Bry taught me anything.
Yeah, Jesus.
But they want him to be a cool 90s guy. So he uses nicknames like, he uses one nickname he's not cool enough to pull off. The Undertaker is the big dog. The Undertaker owns his yard, and you better get the fuck off the porch if you can't handle it. That's a line that Mark Calloway can pull off because he's perhaps the coolest man ever born on Earth. Roman, Joe, my guy. No, buddy. You're not cool enough to pull that line off.
Like, it's the difference between, I'm the big dog, get out of my yard, and I'm a big dog.
He's also not that big.
Suffer and succotash. The guy.
And that's just bad.
That was never good.
The man? I'm the man around here. That's good. There's a lot of... Internet, forgive me, but I'm using this in the original context. There's a lot of patriarchal overtones there. You are the head of the household. You are the man in charge.
Why don't they give him a daddy name?
He's a dad.
Or a big blank that isn't dog.
Like, yeah. Like, any of that would
Like how Diesel was Big Daddy Cool? That would have been awesome.
Please don't call him Big Daddy Cool.
Well, no. But, like, I don't know.
But, like, there's so many better nicknames. You could... the man would be better. I'm the man around here. It would grind it into the fans' faces that you are the man, and there's not a goddamn thing they can do about it. Oh my god, turn him heel!
Or the top dog.
The top dog, yes! I'm the top dog. That's still kind of stupid, but not as bad as the big dog, which you are not cool enough, or, to be honest, big enough to pull off.
Braun Strongman, he's a big dog.
If Braun Strowman call himself the big dog, yeah, he's a great big old dog. I would believe that.
I'm scared of that big dog. I'm not gonna go in his yard. He'll bite me.
That's a medium-sized dog calling himself the big
He'll
dog.
bite
That kind of
me.
makes me think he has small dog disease.
And then he'll open his mouth and Burzum will come out.
And a guy Roman size having small dog syndrome says some things that maybe you don't want to say about the face of your company.
Which he's not anymore, and that's for the best. It's just like after the last time he was booked into something, and they did so well.
That's honestly, that's why I'm hammering this home so hard, because the U.S. title scene, until he turns heel, the U.S. title scene is the right scene for Roman.
Sure.
He's a good guy. He's a good guy. He can do well there. He doesn't have to talk as much. He can be against talent that is far better, and he has a lot of charisma with. He fucking put on real good matches with Rusev.
Yeah. The gimmick was dumb, the angle, but the matches were alright.
Getting him in the main event scene attached to Seth Rollins, who is a much more developed talent, because he's been doing this fucking a decade longer than Roman, is still a solid play. Having him there sans Seth is not a good call, because the fans will not accept it. Unless you're going to turn him heel, in which case the fans not accepting it instantly becomes a goldmine. You have watched me, listener, turn over the months into the rest of the internet, turn Roman heel chanting forever at everyone in the WWE. Because he didn't need to turn heel for a long time. They could have gotten away with not doing it. But at this point, even I'm a little tired of the fucking big dog.
That's saying something. You're always excited for Puppy Man.
Doggo Boy is just, he's the best, but god damn it if I'm not tired of this fucking gimmick.
Just, yeah.
It's not working, guys. Pack it the fuck in.
So as I was saying earlier, and you mentioned this last night, if I had been at all invested in these characters and these storylines, I would have had more patience with the show as a whole.
Same.
Would it have still been bad?
Yes.
Yes, indeed. But it was bad. Cat invaders. And
she's very invading tonight. Continue.
Jesus Christ. I'm not invested in this shit. Everything was so predictable that even the talent I liked, I didn't care about their match. And the rest of the talent, I couldn't give a fuck. This Chris Jericho fucking Kevin Owens thing, God, I don't care. I don't know. No, I know who cares. The guys who like Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho.
And don't want to see that gimmick again because they think it's funny and they watch every week and they want funny things on their television. And they're internet smarks who love Kevin Owens because he's an indie guy and love Chris Jericho because he was around during the Attitude Era and go away.
Yeah, go away, smarks. Yeah, you better believe wrestling is real if you're listening to this podcast.
But
Paul Burchill really was a pirate. Don't you tell me different.
That was such a visual joke. I don't know if they'll have the context for it. But it's just I'm with you, I don't care. I don't care because I know how this ends. There's only two ways it ever ends. Either A, it peters off into nothing, or B, Chris Jericho's going to betray Kevin Owens for a shot at the title. Look, there's only one good way to go from this fucking predictable bullshit, and that's you get Seth and Roman out of the title picture by having Chris Jericho betray Kevin Owens for a title match at the Royal Rumble. It gets Jericho out of the Rumble. It gives Owens a title match. You get Seth and Roman in the Rumble where Ambrose is. The Shield gets to do a little cool thing in the middle of the Rumble, which will keep your fans happy. It clears up Seth to go after Triple H at WrestleMania. It clears up Roman to have a U.S. title match at WrestleMania. It gives Owens Chris Jericho feud he can clear up in 1 month, which hopefully frees him up for Finn Balor. I'm still holding out hope for that. That's the good thing you could do from this. I don't think they're going to do it. But eventually, it will implode and Chris Jericho will backstab Kevin Owens. They could do it now and pull off a lot of good shit, but they won't.
I don't know when, and this is insider shit. Not that I'm an insider, I just read about it. But
so it's internet dirt sheet shit.
Dirt sheet shit. But
gas up your hogs, smart. It's time to take a ride.
Yeah. You can come back now. Paul Burchill is just some guy who's had sex with his not sister. That was a weird gimmick. The pirate was less weird.
Yeah, that was beaver cleavage weird.
Yeah, that was. Is that his mom? Is he hot for his mom? Why? He's clearly a grown man. That's the headbanger Mosh. Why is he?
We all know that's Mosh.
Why is he wearing that little boy outfit?
Why is he wearing the propeller hat? There's something inherently bad about a propeller hat.
I think the New Day can make it work, but
well, yeah, the New Day can make anything work.
This is why even when SmackDown might put on a worse show, and I've said several times, you pointed it out to me, I was very unhappy, and a couple of Raw pay-per-views ago, I was like, at least it was better than the SmackDown one. But you know what? At least I'm interested in the wrestlers that are on SmackDown. You know, this Sasha Banks-Charlotte feud might have been really good if Sasha Banks hadn't, 2 months into the feud, decided that she had quote-unquote injuries that needed healing after she had gotten back from, 4 months of injury leave.
Sasha Banks really did fucking suck the wind out of this feud.
Yeah. And I was never that fond of Charlotte in the first place.
Charlotte's quality talent, but I don't care.
And WWE fucked that up too with the whole Ric Flair angle.
There are other women's wrestlers I like more in that division on that show.
Yeah.
They're doing Sasha Banks versus Nia Jax, which is a fucking okay, sure.
Okay, whatever. At least neither of them are stuck in an angle where two wrestlers are fighting over them. At least that's Alicia Fox, and she's probably not going to wrestle.
Yeah, that's good.
Safety first.
Do you know what would have made the 30-minute Iron Man match better? If it was Trash Panda versus Becky Lynch.
Oh my god, if it was Trash Panda versus fucking anyone, I don't care. But yeah, Becky Lynch. God, Alexa Bliss.
Those guys just have better chemistry. I think that's the other thing, is that unlike The Miz and Dolph Ziggler, who had amazing chemistry, and still do, I was just tired of seeing it.
Sure.
Sasha Banks and Charlotte don't.
Look, okay, I didn't like that Miz-Dolph Ziggler match. They
work together, but it's not that they work well together. They've got okay chemistry. It's not fucking Dragon Macho Man. They're not amazing when you put them in the ring together. They don't rate the kind of push they were getting as a unit.
Sure, no, I understand that. Ideal situation, Sasha Banks would have gone over Charlotte, and then we would have moved on from there. There's so many things you could have done that didn't involve Charlotte fucking Flair, but whatever.
But they want Charlotte, after a year undefeated on the main roster, as a Flair, as the franchise at WrestleMania 33, facing off against the major underdog that everyone loves in Bayley, and her big win, popping the crowd huge and making everyone happy, sometime in the middle of the show after a heel victory to re-energize the crowd. That's what they want, and they're going to fucking get it there, whether you like it or not.
That's so long as they do it, okay? I'm not going to say it'll all be worth it, but I will forgive you if you put Bayley over. But yeah, as I was saying, this whole show was boring, and I didn't give a shit. But The Miz versus Dolph Ziggler at the SmackDown at TLC, I didn't care for that match either. But, oh my god, it was 10 times more interesting.
And it was good.
And it was well wrestled. There was one good spot in the Roman Reigns-Kevin Owens match. And that was an unexpected reversal into like a top rope Michinoku driver from Kevin Owens. That was it. It was even better because I was upside down at the time. And wow, that looked crazy. But that was it. That was fucking it.
He gets weird when he's bored.
I was just laying on my back on the ground. I was
gonna let him.
It was cold, and I was snuggled up in my owl blanket.
I was gonna let them have a little magic in their lives, but okay.
I'm the magic killer. No, wait, I'm a better move.
Oh, I'm done talking about this.
Yeah, that's it. Say the line.
Everything's better when nerds talk about it.
Fuck it, let's get hardcore.